Ma, 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 ma. Ma, 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 ma. Hi, I'm here. I'll be properly live in a couple of minutes. Just enjoying my cup of tea.
Jesus, what a mess.
Not Yorkshire or PG. Some sort of expensive organic black tea. Hi. How's everyone doing? Hope you're doing well. I have no idea what my B-roll's doing. It's just doing something. I'm sure it'll be fine. Whatever it wants to do. It'll B-roll do that. Gunniac, thank you very much for the sub.
5 months already. Keep up the awesome content.
Oh, I appreciate the love. I will keep up the content. I'll tell you that. Can't promise it'll always be awesome. Or that it has been awesome. But I appreciate the love. Thank you very much, Gunniac. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is enjoying the potential of being out of lockdown in the not too distant future. Wherever you are, some people are out of lockdown. Some people are in a demi-lockdown. Some people are just about to come out of lockdown. I think in the next few days. When's our Freedom Day? Freedom Day UK. When is this? Is it on the 19th? Yeah, looks like it's July 19th for us. Awesome. I have not been paying too much attention to that because we've had a bit of a terrible 3 weeks now. My dad's taken an unfortunate turn and is now end of life, which is distressing. But he's surrounded by love, and we've got him home. Which, so for people that didn't know what was going on, put my father in hospital. We were hoping to be a very brief stay, so that they could just see if there was anything more they could do for him. It turned out to be like them holding him there for a couple of weeks, almost against our will, because we were like, we know there's nothing you can do for him. We want him home. We're ready for him to be home, and we can get care so he can be looked after here. Just sort of give him back, and they wouldn't give him back. And earlier today, he has been deposited back in our home, which is genuinely fantastic, because now we can look after him here, and this is where you'd want to be, isn't it? You'd want to be not just my house. Obviously my house. You don't want to be in my house. Big flying duck. You want to be home, don't you? Obviously. He's comfortable, very sleepy, but and I'm going to be helping where I can. But we've got carers in. We've got carers that look like they're going to be paid for by the NHS, or they're subsidised by the NHS or something, which is fantastic, because we thought it was going to cost us £5,000 a month, and I was like, well, I have to chuck some of my savings into that. But it's not as terrible. It looks like it's all being sorted, and it's not sort of not just been left to us to entirely do, because we had thought the hospital was sort of like half were being awkward and washing their hands of it, and it's just like, yeah, it was a bit of a nightmare, but it's all good. It's all good. Well, as good as it can be. Got him home. Going to be looking after him. Obviously, that's going to cause potentially some disruption to the channel occasionally. It is going to be family first over anything else, but I obviously will have the time to work still. It's just going to make the videos, potentially the quality, a bit lackluster. But I've got Zin around, so she'll be able to push for stuff, and I still have at least a good amount of time to dedicate to videos, but they might not be out the quickest. And I appreciate people's understanding in this, and I appreciate and adore all of the kind words and the hopes and prayers and dreams and love and everything that people have given me over the last few months, because it's been difficult but not unbearable. Do you know what I mean? I think difficulty is part of human life. Fortunately, it was never in a state where I was just like, I can't do this. Maybe I had a couple of moments where I cracked up, but only briefly. My mum's been an absolute champion through all of it. Obviously, much more emotionally involved with everything. It must be hellish for her, but it's good that we've got him back home, and we look after him and make him as comfortable as possible. And yeah, I appreciate all the love. Thank you. I have no idea what that is in German. But thank you. I'm assuming it's kind words in German, so I assume. Sorry to hear that, Bored. Similar, both mum and dad. It's much nicer to have them at home. Yeah, I know. It's when it's copable at home, why not? And we'll respect his wishes, which is he wants to be at home. So, since we're getting physical, so if anyone wants to ask a question during the live stream, which is hopefully mostly Star Citizen and potentially a little bit of Squadron 42 based, please ask a question. Question in brackets will help me dig it out from what may be a crowd of questions. I'm typically quite far behind on questions as well, so sort of bear that in mind. I'm not going to be streaming for too long today, because, as I said, my dad's just come in. I think he was sedated before we dropped him off. Oh, this is okay. So when my dad got dropped off at my house, yeah. Steve OMD.
Take care of your dad.
Take care of your dad. We'll be here to give you virtual comforts and take your mind off things. Appreciated. Yes. So content and stuff is a good lifeline for me, and like obviously I can freely share stuff, and like leak my brain at people, which is lovely. But yeah, so I've got an awkward set of steps and stairs that sort of go up and then go at like an angle, and it's very, very hard to move. And my dad is bedbound, so a group of 4 ambulance peoples brought him into the house. Well, two nurses and 2 ambulance people, and they couldn't get around this corner. And I was sort of leaving them to that. I opened my door, and they went, "Help! Help!" at me. So I ran over to them, and they went, "Can you just pull?" I went, "Okay." I had an adrenaline surge, okay? So I think I might have had one once before in my entire life, but all I knew is that I had to pull something and that it was important. And sort of my vision went a bit sort of narrow focus, is the way I can say. But I pulled very hard, it seems, because the 2 nurses that were flanking me flew. They went, poof! One just dunk next to me, just sort of passed out there, and the other one just out of my vision. I pulled hard. And then I sort of went, "Oh my god, I'm sorry," and sort of started to let go slightly, and the 2 nurses, or the ambulance drivers that are behind, went, "Oh, no," and sort of, pulled back, and they sort of recovered, and we got him up very easily after that, because we pulled him up the stairs. But that was really weird. And she said, the nurse next to me went, "You can let go if you want now," and I went, "I don't know if I can," because I was shaking. It's really weird. But yeah, if you could call adrenaline at will. Oh, my heart was afterwards as well. It was weird. I did not like after I realised what was happening. Best guess for Wave 2 and live. Okay, so we're in 3.14 PTU first wave at the moment, which means Evocati and Concierge and subscribers have got access. Now, I do feel that occasionally CIG leave it like a couple of days extra in Wave 1 PTU to encourage people to become subscribers. I that might be a bit might be a bit cynical of me, but I think probably that's what they do. Maybe, I don't know. But there's a huge amount of balancing going on in 3.14. A lot of the bugs and known issues, a lot of them have been solved. There's a ton of balance to do, though. There's so much in the way of combat changes and ship changes and tuning changes that there's going to potentially be there's sort of 2 major scenarios here when it comes to the live build, is that they keep the game into PTU for ages, and then go live when they've got a good amount of balance in. Or, once they've got basic balance in, they go live, and then they balance more in 3.14.1, 3.14.2, and 3.15. Yeah? Those are the 2 major scenarios that I would foresee for a live build. However, when it comes to Open PTU and Wave 2 PTU, it's possible we'll just go straight to Open PTU, but I am expecting them to want to, after this weekend, go to wider, if not Open PTU probably, and get a lot more testing for the balance. And then I think they're probably going to keep the game in Open PTU for a long time. I think that's the most probable way they do things. That's not confirmed. That's just what I expect. I did originally expect them to try and get a live build of 3.14 out for the middle of July, but from seeing the amount of balance that they have to do realistically now, I think that was vastly optimistic. Well, I didn't realize the amount of balance and what they were actually trying to do with the design goals. Question: with the new balancing of ships and weapons currently underway, it seems eventually it will be more feasible to bring larger combat ships to high-risk bounties. Your thoughts? Yeah, I mean, they are trying to push multi-crew ships. They are trying to push larger ships being a lot more sturdy, and they might not be able to pursue ships in the same way. So eventually bounties might be like, well, taking a big ship's good, but the bounty can just evade you and get away. But in the short midterm, yeah, large combat ships, you certainly want to bring them to high risk bounties. I also quite like the changes to size 2 shields now, because size 2 shields have got a bit more heft to them. So like heavy fighters basically are going to be running size 2 shields, and sort of like that size ship. Size 1 shields are pretty weak when it comes to they're like HP. I mean, they can regenerate relatively quickly if you get away and disengage. And with a light fighter, that's exactly what you should be doing. Getting some shots in, disengaging. Very good at 1v1 dogfighting if you're good. But if you're a scrub like me, you want to be running a brawler, like at least a Super Hornet or a heavy fighter. Because, well, what you can do is you can go, well, I'm not as skilled, but I can take a hell of a lot more of a beating. That's what interdiction's for. Yes, so when you think about interdiction, though, interdiction is going to allow you to pull a ship, potentially, within a certain area, out of quantum travel. But if you can't then get to that ship and shoot them, they can just get away from you and then quantum travel again. So interdiction is a good idea if you can then have other ships or have a way of capturing that ship or taking that ship out quickly while they've been interdicted, but a lot of the time they're just going to get away. So it depends on what's going on there, for sure. It's possible in the future that we may have some better E-war ships or other forms of interdiction, like webifiers, like they have in EVE, and where they'll actually slow ships down. Tuna and mayo mixed together, then put on a sandwich, or mayo on bread and then tuna on top. I'm not a fan of tuna, unless it's raw tuna, in which case I'll have it with sushi. I'm good with raw tuna. Don't like cooked tuna. Tuna, not in a sandwich, you monster. Tuna is for my cat. More balance is definitely needed in the Persistent Universe. Yes, agreed. Heartily agreed. Hey, Bored and Zin. Happy Friday. Happy Friday, Mr. Sparrow. Zinni is currently working on some videos. She's looking at the patch watch post on ship tuning and thrusters. All new roadmap features look good, but I'm looking forward to hangars. I want to start thinking about what I need for missions and saying goodbye to you old bag of holding. Yeah, so I mean, we've got local inventories coming in a couple of phases. So on the roadmap updates, we saw assistant hangars being a thing that's planned for 3.17, I believe, at the moment. That's a bit more a step beyond local inventories, just for moving stuff between your hangar that you're in to your ship, to your character. You might be able to do that actually quite soon. And then just as long as you're at the landing zone, that's where your stuff is. But when we have persistent hangars, that will actually have our stuff at our particular hangar. I don't think they're all going to be physicalized, these hangars. The persistent hangars I think we'll see at the major landing zones, I think are going to be slightly faked. You'll take an elevator to them, and they'll be your hangar, but they're not going to obviously have physicalized addresses. That's my expectation. The stuff that I really liked in the progress tracker, though, from the roadmap, was a huge amount of iCache or netgraph. Netgraph? Node graph? Mesh node? What's it called? I've lost my ability to think. Entity graph. It's entity graph, isn't it? I'm talking about, so iCache has basically become entity graph, which is basically what they call it now. Basically they had a huge amount on server meshing, iCache, entity graph, and services that will use it, and how it's all connected as features that they're working on the progress tracker. That's super important because it's, well, some of the stuff like the dedicated game server mesh node and the shard manager, they are important implementations that then allow server meshing to be used. So to me, it looks like they are trying to push server meshing, at least the first initial stage, for Q2 2022. And that's what I've expected for a while. It might be a bit after that. That's what it looks like. That's what I'm hoping. There's a load of other stuff there to do with moving stuff between iCache and database to inventory and all the way through that. Wave 2 needs to release more testing for everyone. I agree. I would say that the current PTU is ready for at least Wave 2, if not Open PTU, because most of the stuff they're going to be doing is testing combat and balance changes and all this sort of stuff. Nielsen's pre and that sort of stuff. They're not going to be able to fix the clouds, I don't think. It's an ongoing sort of technical thing they're doing with the clouds. They need to improve the tech there to get the fuzz and the little dots sorted. I can't point you, there's a visionary there. Nice. Dennis Drain, combat feels so different, but I'm liking it so far. Makes you work for every kill. It makes you think about when you fire, at the very least. So, me and Zina found that Vandal Swarm is just super easy. Pirate Swarm a lot harder than Vandal Swarm. We'll probably be playing that properly next week. Just when they've got some more changes, we'll have mess around in Pirate Swarm and complete that. Probably with heavy fighters or something, just so we can mess around a bit more. But the changes are so huge, and on paper they look pretty good. And I understand their design goals now, and they want to have each individual fighter, light fighter, medium fighter, heavy fighter, interdict, interceptor, all have their own roles, and then obviously specialist craft as well, which they didn't really sort of identify in their balance. But that's probably because they would have to be individually balanced. They don't want to. It's not its own group effectively. But I love the fact they're doing that. That makes so much sense. And the combat seems pretty chill, pretty fun. Desync's obviously a problem with PvP and players. So, my hotel's all set up. You've got your hotel all set up. Yeah. So, 3.14 now allows you to bind keys for your HOTAS again. Is the Arana Hilo still being worked on? Yes. Is it coming this year? Don't know. I'd expect it to be released this year, actually, by the end of the year. But that's not confirmed. Sorry for my hardship. That's all right. We all go through hardship, eh? Stay strong, big guy. I am 5'7". I'm a wee little chap. Although I'm quite a wide boy. As a casual gamer, do you recommend buying Star Citizen right now with the state of the game? Depends what you want to do. If you want to play, if you're okay with playing every 3 months or so when they release a major patch, and when there's events on, then it's probably great to play. Quite genuinely. Bam, jump in. There's an event. There's Xenothreat. There's Nine Tails Lockdown. There's a free fly Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. New ships and stuff like that. Trial the ships. There's a new major patch. Loads of cool stuff. If you want to jump in then for a couple of weeks when those sort of things are on, yeah, Star Citizen's worth buying now. Just buy a starter pack, $45. Get everything else in game. Easy game. However, it's not ready for a sit down and play game yet. It's very pretty, but it does not have the gameplay loops, the content, or the sort of refined and polished gameplay by any means. And it's very much alpha, and it comes with a load of bugs because of that. Isn't even more ship changes coming with physical components having their own hit pools at some point? Yes. So Eagle 6, I talked about this a couple of times in my video. I would see that physical damage and physical components for ships would be an even bigger change to the balance changes that they've done now. So that there will be a even larger sort of like, oh my god, we need to rebalance everything. However, Cloud Imperium have basically said, look, we are gearing all the ships towards their design goals and getting balance into a place that we can build on it from there, so that actually the physical components and physical damage system has somewhere to come off, to be built off, almost. So it does make sense to some degree. Is there going to be this huge, massive balance pass again with physical components and that sort of stuff and physical damage? Well, probably, but it would benefit significantly if they have the design goals and if they have the sort of everything as close to its final sort of intended purpose as possible before that. So if they go, well, this is actually how we want it all to work, but we've bodged a load of it, I think that's fair. It might be a inefficient way of doing it, though. That's probably arguable. But they are maintaining a live environment. Been dropped off server 3 times in the last 2 hours. Any updates on fixing the problem? It depends on your type of error. Are you getting kicked off because of petty case? If so, it could be a load of different things. Could be the server's crashing though. Also, there was very recently a couple of PTU patches. I've actually had pretty good stability in the last patch. So, what is server meshing exactly? So, server meshing, basically, the goal is to have servers be able to seamlessly share data between each other, and for players to be able to move between servers seamlessly as well. And eventually, have every individual object container. So, whether that's a building, a ship, a planet, they can have multiple object containers nested in each other. Yeah. So, and then each of these can be turned into a server freely. And then spun down as a server. So you could have a room, which is a server, on a planet, which is also a server, with ships flying above it, which are also servers, and in the area of spaces around it is a server. And they could all be nested in each other, and they could all share data between each other, and yeah, and because of that, and the way they do that, you'll be able to have these massive or large-scale fleet battles and things like that as well, without everything imploding. That is the goal of server meshing. What's happening with the station at Olisar? So Port Olisar will be getting replaced at some point. We don't know exactly when. They said it will go out with some sort of glorious way, in the way it deserves. So it will be eventually being replaced with a proper station like Port Tressler or whatever, with all of the features that those stations have. Joko Pliskin, Friday money kisses. Christ, I'm tired. Send help. I know, right? Unfortunately, I can't send help because I'm also tired. Kaniak, thank you very much for gifting subs to Joshua. It's about with numbers. And Weekend, thanks. Oh, you star. Thank you. I appreciate the donations and the subs. You guys are awesome. Jake, ew. Is that the kids are saying ew now, aren't they? I'm a stocky 5'7" 2-board. Good man. CIG put the Boreal Stalker on the roadmap saying it was being implemented into the game. Yeah, it's nowhere to be seen. Do you know what's happening with it? They are. And Jack, I know you love your animals, especially the sandworm. Sandworm soon, TM maybe. They're working on it. So the Microtech Yeti, or Boreal Stalker, looks like it's going to be one of the first animals in game. Hi, Board. Due to the new roadmap changes, has your prediction on when server meshing is release changed? No, I think optimistically still Q2 2022. So I really enjoyed the flight model and combat in Arena Commander in Star Citizen 2.6.3. Okay, that was the sort of like golden age for me, for all of this combat and a lot of fun I had in Star Citizen when it came to dogfighting. And that's because largely the rubber banding and desync had been solved by then. I think it was 2.6.3. I'm pretty sure. 2.4. I was saying it's 2.4. But I think it was 2.6.3. I'll have to go back and look at my notes again. But around that era, sort of PvP and Arena Commander and dogfighting, even in large groups, was pretty good. And you didn't have the terrible desync, and you didn't have the rubber banding, which plagued us before and after, maybe. But we have desync at the moment, but potentially on paper, and to a degree in practice, we actually have a better system now, maybe. It's hard to tell until it all comes together, isn't it? I don't hate it, and I'm quite enjoying it. Did they fix all the issues with the mole? Probably not all of them. There have been fixes to the mole. What happened with the planetary gates, like the one showed in 3.0 gameplay showcase? They look really cool for immersion. Are you talking about the Aaron Halo giant Crusader gates, that they will be a part of the Aaron Halo eventually? Can you feel Chris Roberts in Manchester? Is he already here? Is he in the UK now? I know he's going to be moving to the UK for a while to finish out Squadron 42. We know that, but it's going to be later in the year. Oh, and I heard that CIG have sort of like confirmed their new offices, but I haven't heard anything more than that, and that might be I think that's probably true, but I haven't actually heard anything more than that. So I'm looking for information about what's going on with the UK new offices, if that is actually a thing. Well, I know it's a thing. I'm looking for a press release or something, so everyone sees that. Tell me. I assume they're going to be around Manchester somewhere, because obviously the one's currently in Wilmslow, Manchester, and a lot of the CIG employees live around that office, so they're not going to want to move it too much. So basically all the servers are connected. Yes. Does that mean that two people in different servers will actually still be in the same world and be able to play with each other? That is the goal of server meshing, yes. However, if for some reason server meshing doesn't work as intended, the next best thing will be that they'll still affect the same game universe, and the God AI will sort of like both crunch their numbers and put it into the same thing. But yeah, the idea is that we could have two big fleets that were all on different servers, effectively, all fighting each other. Sort of break down what a server means to being, well, it's just looking after what data it needs to then send to another server. Yeah, if there's only a few people in an area, they'll all be on the same server. But if there's lots of people in different rooms near each other, they'll all technically be on different servers. A good sign for Squadron 42 is they're taking things seriously, looking at balancing ships. The thing is that they don't need balance for ships for Squadron 42. And what I mean by that is they just need the missions to play as they want them to play, because they're able to control everything. It doesn't need balance in the fact that balance is more player versus player, or working out what's good in an adapting situation that might change, and there's lots of variables. Whereas Squadron 42 doesn't have as many variables, because they go, okay, well, it's not hard enough for a player. Chuck in a couple more ships. Do you see what I mean? But yeah, if they balance it so it has parity directly to the PU, then cool, I suppose. Not how I balance it, but I think that's how they want to balance it. Hagshack. Or check your messages. This is RC. Need to send the vids, beer, and Vermont National Guard battle flag. Okay, cool. No worries. I will check afterwards. Sorry, obviously with my dad and stuff, I've been sort of like forgetful or not paying attention to a lot of messages. Apologies. I'm planning to, over the next couple of days, interview Moist Noodle, but talk to him about a lot of stuff, about controversies and about being a content creator for Star Citizen and stuff he enjoys for PvP and what he thinks of the new content, lots of stuff. So I'll be picking his brain about a lot of things. Hopefully he's an interesting character to have an interview with. What else have we got? Do you not think with server meshing tasks finished just before SitCon, they are not aiming for some sort of server meshing demo at CitizenCon? Yeah. I mean, I think they'll want to show server meshing at CitizenCon. I think they're going to show off Pyro and Nyx, for example, and some forms of server meshing type stuff ready for them is probably something they'll want to do. It's not going to be in our hands though until next year, surely. The first iteration of server meshing is going to be static server meshing, which basically just goes, look, this area is a server and predefined as a server. So the area around Crusader and the planet. the area around Microtech, the area around this. It's like maybe 4 servers across the Stanton system, which you'll move to statically. Well, so statically, they're seamlessly share data still. You'll still be on the same mega server. With capitals not despawning when the last person logs out, well, we'll have to see what they decide with that, because they can talk about it all they want, but when they actually go, right, we've got capitals in game, and persistence is now important, how are we handling this? That's when they're going to decide. So they go, oh, actually, we'll do it like that. Actually, we'll do it like this. Actually, it's not going to be decided until they test it and go, this is what we want. So yeah, the dynamic server meshing is when they dynamically spin up servers based on the population of an object container, or spin them down. And anything can become a server. Chris Roberts is henceforth known as Space Roberts. Can we play the single player before 2030? As long as the moon wobble doesn't cause too much problem, and there's no major war, probably. How long have you been playing the game for? I think I've been playing Star Citizen since 2014. Although there was a very minimal amount to play in 2014. Some people will say there's a minimal amount to play now. Angry Apache. I'm not that. Have they fixed login issues for the PTU? I was able to log in earlier. The issue where people couldn't copy their accounts. So that was broken the other day. That wasn't really an issue. Sometimes the services go down. You should be able to. I'm still not able to play because I got my account so many times. I never get the email. Contact customer service. Or wait like a day and then copy it across again. Why do you need the email? You don't need the email, do you? You can. So once you've copied your account across, you can just log on to your normal account on the launcher and then just change it to the PTU. What else have we got? How do you feel about the current state of commies? Commies? Connies? What? This got political. No. How do I feel about the current state of constellations? So they're tweaking their health up. They're trying to make larger ships, like the Connie and larger, have a lot higher time to kill. I like that. I want that. And obviously there needs to be a lot more balance. I haven't played around too much with the constellation with the crew. In 3.14, I've used the ship, but without a crew. It's a bit more tanky. So I need to see how it plays. In Pirate Swarm, they take a lot of damage now. And if you don't have enough firepower to bear on it, then they are troublesome to deal with. I like the way it's going. I like the times to kill being higher, because what I want eventually is physicalized components so I can target subsystems, and then we can disable ships like that with precision fire. You made a video about the 22 space journey, Project Icarus, but at the end you said they had another 8 days to go. Are you making a video about the rest of their adventure? I haven't even checked back on the rest of their adventure. Me and Sid will check that out after the stream. No worries. It's a bloody good point. I am absolutely enamoured by the idea of you behaving like a swan on the Redacted podcast, but cannot find the vid. It was a raptor swan. I was very drunk. I'm a good boy with alcohol now. I haven't been drunk in over a year, I don't think. So I've got quite an addictive personality. I'm very bipolar. I have terrible anxiety sometimes, and alcohol's pretty good as a crutch for me. But I've been very good with that. Ketos helped. Going on a keto diet me lose weight and sort of made me have slightly more willpower not drinking. But I want to get into a state and then when I stop with keto, because I stopped with 2 weeks of keto and I put on like 7 pounds pretty quick. I've gone back onto keto now, but I want to get into a situation where I'm happy with my weight and got a good exercise regime and maybe do a bit of liftings, and then can eat out of keto, have some delicious yum-yums occasionally, and drink a little bit. That's what I want. Everything in moderation. Not everything. You should interview the legend of Jolly 01, the undisputed best pilot in the game. I can have a look. I'm happy for people to suggest people that they want me to interview. Love your beautiful bald head. Have a good weekend. Nate the Great, thank you very much. I appreciate the love for my lovely shiny dome. I don't like the way high zoom scopes black out on the screen around it when you aim down sights. It's a very cheap look. I think they're improved. That I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Wow, I wish they would get the gameplay finished before they make more ships. It's not mutually exclusive. The people that make ships can't make gameplay. And there's people making ships, and there's people that those people that make ships could either make ships or make potentially space station type stuff and assets that are similar to ships. So like interiors for structures and things like that. Pretty similar in some situations. Or vehicles and things like that. But it's not mutually exclusive. It's sort of a misnomer. Is CIG aware of the shimmering artifact of light sources in the PU? So, the signs and the text and the sort of halos around certain things were solved in the last PTU patch, or at least it's on the patch fix list. There's obviously some issues with light because they've updated some light stuff. I think is going to be fixed pretty soon. So, I think most of that stuff was fixed in the 3.14 J patch. I'd like them to add a possible animal companion. Security and search and rescue animals we can use as an AI type. Could open up some interesting gameplay. That's quite complex, and what do you do with how much health and stuff and what happens when they die and things like that. They do want to have pet animals in the game. To what extent that's going to be, I don't know. I haven't kept up with this game in a while. Is there a crucial feature in the development pipeline that might drastically accelerate development soon? Server meshing? Or the general persistent streaming, sort of subset of the network overhaul, which includes server meshing. So, like towards the end of this year, they want to have the persistent streaming and the persistent data being able to be saved and reloaded and regenerated easily. Server meshing's huge. The Dynamic Universe Simulator stuff with Quanta, that's a massive thing. Huge AI updates they've got planned, but we haven't seen them materialize. They're pretty important. There's and then every individual gameplay loop. But yeah, Vulcan and the Gen 12 renderer. Zin has her own channel, sort of. I mean, she doesn't use it. So we've got our own BoredGamer channel. Do you two collaborate on that one too? What's the channel? BoredGamer Zinnia. We don't use it. There's also a BoredGamer 2.0 channel, which we don't use much at the moment. Zinnia works for me full time, and we do play other games and record them, and plan to put them out to people that are Patreons and YouTube join member boys. It may take quite a long time to edit. And I've been a bit erratic recently, so we haven't done that stuff that I wanted to do. But yeah, you'll see me and Zin play more games on the channel. I mean, she works for me full time, and for example, Monday we have a sort of like general chat and games day rather than doing much in the way of recording. Well, actually, we record a lot of the time, but rather than actually get something new out, we sort of talk, play, chill. But you'll start to see a lot more stuff on the channel, especially gameplay with Star Citizen and potentially some other stuff. Is 3.14 more CPU intensive? I think it spreads the load across more CPUs as CPU cores. It has vastly been improved and optimized frame rate wise in the last 2 PTU patches. Keep looking up in the PTU and then can't relaunch unless I do a full reinstall. Ooh. I did have a problem where I needed to reinstall it the other day because every time I loaded it, it would just forever load. Right, I'm going to be right back real quick. I'm just going to do a PP and get some water. Chris Roberts' floating head, you're in charge. Look at that. Over a laptop. Oh, my Oogie Boogie t-shirt slightly see-through. I did not notice. Alright, I'm going to have. I'll tell you what. My adrenaline surge that I had earlier has left me in quite a lot of pain on my back. A great back recently, anyway. If you would like to ask, let me turn that down a bit, eh? Super loud. I do like the music, but Not when it's in my soul. Shows picture of fire. Have we heard anything about the Founders Festival? So the Foundation Festival last year was sort of encouraging players to help new players do guides and use the guide system, and rewarded some players with skins and badges and that sort of stuff. It looks like they're going to do something similar this year, potentially sell some stuff as well, because some people, the Star Citizen leaks discovered some references to Foundation Festival skin names. Typically, it's around the middle of July Foundation Festival, so could be this weekend, could be next week. Wait to see something for the Foundation Festival. Do you think Pyro will be presented at this year's CitizenCon? Yes, I think I'll see Pyro and Nyx, and a mission between them would be my expectation. What do you think about Elite Dangerous players experiencing Star Citizen for the first time due to the Frontier devs or handling of Elite Dangerous? Do you think this will be short-lived, and do you think it'll be good or toxic for the overall Star Citizen community? I think it'll be a mixed bag. And some of most things. Hopefully, the Frontier devs will sit down, solve the problems for the game, and make the game great, like people did with No Man's Sky. Obviously, the original release of No Man's Sky was, I would say, close to being fraudulent, in my opinion. It was marketed on total BS and wasn't ready for, wasn't the game that they had originally sort of said. But then they sat down and they, over a year and a half or 2 years, they got the game into a genuinely great position. So hopefully Frontier can do that. I do think it's good to see new people trying out the game Star Citizen. Obviously, hopefully those people that are playing, that have come from Elite Dangerous, are aware that Star Citizen is very much alpha. Elite Dangerous, it was a much more shallow but finished product. Do you know what I mean? And obviously was a proper game. But Star Citizen is not a game yet. It's an alpha. It's not a released product. Not it's playable alpha. Star Citizen, there's so much cognitive dissonance with playable alpha in my head. Cool Twitch bot, thank you very much. I appreciate the bits. Thank you. But from what I've seen, a lot of the elite players really enjoy it. Star Citizen is very beautiful, but Star Citizen isn't even shallow at the moment, so it doesn't have the gameplay loops at all beyond the WoW factor. So bear that in mind. Star Citizen is very limited in its actual gameplay for sit down and play for people. Yeah, if you've got an organisation or a group you play with and you want to do something, you plan your own emergent gameplay or your own little quests and stuff, cool. Sandbox it. Pretty good for a sandbox, actually. Sandbox experience. But Star Citizen is not just supposed to be a sandbox experience. There's supposed to be a load going on, and obviously alpha and not there yet. So hopefully they're, and from what I've seen, they're much more aware of that. And I think them testing it out now and people testing it out now and going, okay, this has got legs, but it's still a growing little baba boy, and it's going to be a good few years before it turns into a real boy and a real game. Yeah, they might mess around and play with it for a bit and go, cool, yeah, no worries. I'll be a tourist. I mean, a lot of them might convert over and start making content on it. Cool. I don't think Star Citizen's ready for the mainstream yet, though, so... I was talking about when I was talking about the moon wobble. Nice. My recommendation is not to buy any seafront property in the next 10 years. With the emphasis on tuning combat right now, do you think this is a foreshadowing a soonish release of Theatres of War? I'm expecting to see Theatres of War tests throughout the 3.14 branch. I know there's a lot of work that's gone into Theatres of War, but CIG are pretty dark about it, even from my sources. So typically I can find out little bits and bobs about things that are being worked on. I assume it's under NDA. So, have you heard anything on the Titan suit? Hope you and your fam are well. So no, we haven't had anything new about the Titan suits, the sort of superpowered armor for a long time. I'm looking forward to them. They're one of my favorite sort of things that I want to see in the game. Without better server stability, PvP is kind of broken. How long do you think that will take? So I think there's probably some bodge fixes they can do with desync to get it in a significantly better place. But we are waiting for the greater network overhaul that is coming over the next 18 months. And server meshing is sort of part of that. What else have we got? Actually, interviewing an Elite Dangerous content creator or someone that was anti-Star Citizen Pro Elite Dangerous or whatever else, something like that might be a good idea. Just someone that's that was relatively big in the Elite Dangerous community that's now sort of looking at Star Citizen. That might be a good idea. I mean, I'm going to do the interviews pretty much in one take, and just talk and let the other person do most of the talking. That's the way I want to do interviews. I'm lazy. With the reclassification of ships in the recent post, would the Cutlass now fall under a heavy fighter? Yes. No. It's getting a size 2 shield at the moment, isn't it? The Cutlass? Size 2? I don't actually know. I don't know what the Cutlass has got. I haven't used the Cutlass in 3.14. I've been concentrating on Vanguard, Super Hornet, and the Saber. So yeah, actually, so technically to their description, is a Cutlass a heavy fighter in their current description? Yeah, so they've tried to define ships a bit better. So let me let's talk through this because this stuff might change. And there's a couple of ships I suppose might fall into different categories. Let's bring this up. And this is worth talking about. Especially when now I don't... Because I would deem the Cutlass almost as a heavy fighter now, almost. So, basically, the shield, weapon, power, capacitor, all that sort of balance, and ship tuning balance is a big thing of 3.14. And there's a huge amount. Everything's changed. Everything's been changed and rebalanced. Yeah. So there's a huge amount going on, and they want to define exactly what each set of focuses and pluses and bonuses that certain ship types get. So light fighters, for example, good at 1v1 dogfighting, but they have low durability, but they're really maneuverable and agile. Yeah. And then when they're using a boost, which is afterburn has become boost again, but is controlled more by power, how quick it regens, and your ship type, that's going to give you more lateral acceleration. Yeah? So, rather than forward acceleration. So, potentially there, you've got really great dogfighters that can get around ships, but they're not going to be able to take much hits. And you've got like interceptors, interdictors, which are just trying to get to follow a ship or pursue a ship or get to somewhere as quickly as possible. You've got medium fighters, which are very sort of flexible and average in like durability and agility and all that sort of stuff. And you've got heavy fighters. Now, with heavy fighters, so I think that the Cutlass has got to be a heavy fighter, isn't it? So the Cutlass. So people are saying Cutlass has been a medium fighter, medium freighter. Well, so heavy fighters excel at prolonged combat, multiple ship engagements, only fighter class capable of equipping manned turrets and size 2 shields and heavy weaponry. Poor agility, boost affects all axes equally. From my point of view, it should be a slightly less durable heavy fighter. Do you know what I mean? Heavy fighters don't have faces. Heavy fighters still have bubble shields. Size 2 shields are bubble shields now. For the most part. I mean, obviously, you probably have a size 3 shield on a heavy fighter, and then it would have multiple faces. So there are going to be exceptions to that rule, and they're still balancing it. And I'm talking about the intentions rather than actually what's happening. So, I think I want to see the Cutlass and the Freelancer fit within that sort of more heavy fighter category. Do you know what I mean? I mean, obviously they're a little bit unique beyond that as well, because they're not just fighters, and they're not just combat craft. They can do combat, or maybe they're just going. Actually, they're their own unique beasts. Do you know what I mean? Maybe they're like, well, actually, we're looking at dog fighters here, which is possible. Right, Commanders Bullet and Kate have been showing her journey from Elite to Star Citizen. It's not negative on it either, but more shows the experience of Elite players welcome to the verse, new eyes and all that. Okay, cool. Sketch therapy. I'll talk to some of these people. I haven't actually watched many of the Elite players now playing Star Citizen sort of videos. Okay, cool. But I will watch a few. I watch a load of other content creators constantly, so I suppose I just need to add that. Look how shiny my head is. Look at that. Look at that shine. You can't teach that. Hey, probably covered a million times already. Do you have a guesstimate when 3.14 might drop for the PU? Well, obviously it's in the Persistent Universe already. So, with the PTU. So, okay. The Persistent Universe exists both in the live and the PTU version of the game. So the test universe still has a Persistent Universe, and the live version still has a PU, Persistent Universe. When do I think it's going to go to wider PTU or to live? Well, I think we could be in for quite a long open PTU, sort of for 3.14 this time, and I'm expecting them to go to wider PTU probably next week, and then potentially even open PTU, and then keeping it there for quite a while. That's my expectation currently, just because the amount of balance that they have to do. We did hire an entire company just to make worlds. So basically, they've got a Montreal turbulent head studio now that's expanding, and they want to get a lot of people working there that is focusing on Star Citizen's gameplay area, star map, and star systems. So that's how they're planning to build out loads of star systems and loads of content a lot more quickly now. What else we got here? Do you think medical gameplay will get delayed anymore? Hopefully not this part of medical gameplay, or hopefully not any part of medical gameplay. But yeah, sort of pushed it back a bit. Should be alright for the next patch. I mean, we've got hospitals in 3.14 now, so we've got the Microtech Hospital and we've got the Orison Hospital. Parts of it, at least. Do changes to ballistics make you worried about the Ares Inferno usability? And since both variants are meant for capital ship combat, long drawn out combat, and needs a lot of ammo. As long as the Inferno's got a good ammo supply, it doesn't need to have billions of ammo, it just needs a good amount. Because its ship is just a single gun, hopefully with a lot of ammo. I think they'll be right. They just need to balance it correctly. So I was using when I was messing around earlier, I was using sort of like different types of ballistic Gatling, and they're hard to use ballistic Gatlings now because the ammo goes so quickly, and there's a couple of milliseconds splitting up time. So when you're using them, you're slightly offset with the first couple of shots, which you don't want to miss with. Balance issues aside, how do you feel about the direction combat is headed? I genuinely think it's fantastic. I really like what I see with it at the moment on paper and from what I can test currently in game. It was great fun to play Vandal Swarm and Pirate Swarm the other day. I think what people mean by when they complain about making ships is why employ a ratio of 1 programmer to 9 artists to 19 marketing managers. That's not the makeup of CIG. Show me your numbers from there, Eagle Airsoft. Show me your numbers. Because you've got the roadmap showing a reasonable team breakdown. I think we've got over 720 people working for CIG at the moment. Not all of those people are devs. And there's a lot of people working on gameplay loops and netcode and that sort of stuff that aren't just ship artists. You should interview Keanu Reeves. Oh my god, I love him. Will I see a jump in FPS going from a 1080 to a 6800 XT? I'm not sure how well that MD graphics card does in Star Citizen. Okay, so this is a thing. I was hoping my I'd balance it. I don't think they're going to go this route anymore, but I would have had lasers reasonably good at taking out shields and okay at damaging hulls, but not great. And I would have had some more specific energy weapons like energy disruptors and things like that. Very, very good against shields and very good at draining energy from components, but not very good at... They won't damage the hull at all. And then ballistics have them terrible against shields and no pass-through. But great once you've broken the shields. That is the way I was going to... I thought they were going to balance the game originally. It makes more sense with the occasional bursts of ballistics to finish off a target. Is anyone doing a Bar Citizen in New York City this year? Look at barcitizen.sc. Joe Ram sort of coordinates some of this stuff as well. Anyone news on the banner merchantment? Nope, no news on that. So there's 120 systems at least on paper that they've got sort of planned. And as I said, they've got the Montreal studio now working on this content. I don't think a gameplay area is necessarily a good way of judging how much of Star Citizen is complete. What else have we got? When will Star Citizen push Duke Nukem from the Guinness Book of Records? There's games that... I'm sure there's games that have already beaten Duke Nukem to being... they're still under development. That should have been released ages ago, I think. It's possible that Star Citizen is... will push it out. However, Star Citizen has a live product, doesn't it? I mean, it's not finished by any fucking means. Cloud Imperium could have cheated and been like other MMOs regarding gameplay, made everything cutscene transitions, handcrafted planets, but interest would go away once released. Maybe it depends. Depends how they would have done it. Cutlass has a size 2 shield. Yeah. Is it a single size 2 rather than 2 size 2? Okay. Means starting it into the meta now, and they've made a load of changes to everything, so we're sort of learning it as we go. What are your thoughts on EMP changes in 3.14? I have not tested EMPs much. Early testing suggests that it will take twice as many EMPs to target, get a target to shut down. They need a huge amount of bounce on that stuff anyway, so... how do you feel about the Saber with the new changes to it? Seeing I'm unable to play right now, I just want an idea of what I'm coming back to. Seeing it's one of my favourite ships. So the Saber, they removed one of its shields, but it is quite powerful loadout wise. With its, especially if you put like 4 size 3s on it. We don't really have... Well, we've got sort of got stealth now and detection in the PU. Requires more testing. A little bit upset that I lost a shield, though. Do the power generators currently affect your energy weapon pools? All components are basically standardized at the moment. They haven't got variants, so no. Not currently. But your allocation of power to your systems, that directly affects how much capacitor energy is there. So it will, if you put more power to weapons, you'll get more energy ammo in your energy cartridges, as it were, before it needs to recharge again. More power to engines, your boost will use less boost when you use it and will generate quicker. And more power to shields. The shields are stronger. Do you think larger ships should have ammo storage? Yes, I think some of them should. I think that's a great idea. I want to see ammo storage as almost a component. Custom crows, cousin crows. Will it focus on superficial customization paints and skins, or more in-depth tweaking components? So, I believe it's external paints and customizations, some internal objects, as well as some modular changes as well. So, might be a place that you'd get modules for the Retaliator, for example. The Cutlass, if you ask me, is a lightly armed heavy interceptor. It's so weirdly multi-role, the Cutlass. Yeah, the Cutlass is already weak enough. Yeah, I mean, I think that the Cutlass should probably get 2 size 2 shields. Because I think the thing with the Cutlass is that its components are going to be very easily targetable and pick-offable when we have physicalized components. Is the Taurus the new king of multi-role? I think the current king of multi-role is probably the 600i, or just the general meta ship. Taurus is pretty good. Are we feeling good today? I'm shattered. My dad's just been returned to me, which is absolutely fantastic. So we got him back at home. We're looking after him. Just after his birthday as well. He's very tired. I think they gave him a sedative before they transported him. So he's extra tired because he's pretty tired anyway. It's genuinely good that he's back home. Jeff, I haven't noticed the difference in power generators affecting individual ammo mounts and ships. But that's because it's obviously affected by the weapons you've got and the power you put into them. I need to check. I need to check that more. Hey there, do you... eventually it should. Hey there, do you know if this patch, when it goes live, it will reset our ship components to stocks? I would expect so. Remove your ship items off your ships. Is it possible that they do a wipe for 3.14? It's possible, but I think it's unlikely. But typically, your ships get reset to default, whatever. So take your components off. Yes, I do recommend unmounting them. Do they have a... Are Talons still meta? Were they meta ever? They are... Okay. They're a very unique class of light... sort of dive bomber fighter sort of thing. So they want to go... That's how I describe them. And I'm not sure if they can balance them properly yet. Do you know what I mean? Because they're supposed to be very paper thin. And... at the moment, they're wanting light fighters to be quite swarmy and 1v1y, whereas I wouldn't use the Talon really in a 1v1. So I don't think they're the meta at the moment, is what I'm at least what I'm saying. And do they have a button you can hold to use flight sticks to quickly adjust the power triangle? Well, you can bind it. So obviously on the keyboard it's F6, 7, and 8, F5, 6, 7, and 8 to change the power to allocation and then reset on F8. So you can bind keys to do that, obviously. Will the Redeemer be able to carry more ammunition if you went mainly ballistics? So they haven't talked about ammo compartments and ammo components yet, but I'm expecting that, yes. Do you feel that Star Citizen is going too far for the amount of perhaps unnecessary tiny details they're going for? Maybe? It's hard to tell, isn't it? I mean... an exercise in making a beautiful game, Star Citizen, very much so. Does Star Citizen have a PvP community? Yes, but they're largely annoyed. Although they might be less annoyed with this patch. Any guess on Squadron 42's release date? Hopefully the end of next year. I melted my 600i, but I don't see a buyback. Can I get it back? If you can't see it as a buyback, then contact customer service. Not far enough! Do you think swapping some missile slots for capacitors and ammo is feasible? It depends what they want to do with that sort of stuff. I do think they want to very much separate missiles from other ordnance. So I do think it's possible that we'll have ammo slots for some ships, or be able to go, actually, I'll making some concessions here, I'll drop this and have this ammo instead. Have you tried Game Glass? Yes, but not for a while. I haven't used it in the last... certainly not for 3.14. But typically I find Game Glass great as long as you've got a relatively good touchscreen thing. It's fun, diegetic, and useful. Marketing speak. Do you stretch? Yes, I've got a variety of back exercises I use to sort my back out. I've had my back for a couple of years. How expansive do you expect exploration to be at game release? Well, exploration is going to touch a load of different things, but yeah, so scanning down points of interest, going to those points of interest, finding asteroid fields and surveying areas and missions associated with that, and science. But yeah, scanning down lots of different points of interest and going and flying and finding them and saving that information and studying that info. I think that's going to be a huge part of the game. Huge. Do you use voice attack? Haven't for a while. Haven't for a couple of years, actually, with voice attack. But I have previously. I thought it was good. Didn't use it enough, though. It's something I will be using again. I think voice attack is probably much better when you're using HOTAS. What's your favourite moment in Star Citizen so far? I mean, I loved a lot of the stuff that happened at Jumptown. The Spanish community doing the Destruction Derby and like Xenomorph hunt on the ship. It was pretty cool. I really enjoyed the Destruction Derby. Me and my mate Zen joined in. Everyone driving around in Nerza Rovers, burn each other up. It was hilarious, good fun. Did some cool stuff with Rexilla, running around, blowing things up. I like the silly player organized things. They've been pretty good. Xenothreat was pretty fun. Has the reduction in ammunition been done to the Hammerhead? What do you mean? Hammerhead has energy turrets. So each of the individual turrets in the Hammerhead effectively has its own capacitor, so its own ammo pool. How do they nerf the cannons? Reduce their range, reduce their damage, made them poor against, or poorer against fighters is the idea. They are still tweaking it and moving it around though. Do you think they'll re-add the stats to the components on 3.14, or will it be added in a later patch? Both are viable. Do you know what I mean? Depends on how they're balancing it in the PTU. Sorry. So my son wants to know when this game is going to be fun to play. It's not going to be a sit down and play traditional mainstream game that other people will just go, I want to sit down and play a game. For like 4 years. It's just not. I mean, Squadron 42, when it comes out, that should hopefully be genuinely great fun. And a finished, polished game. But I mean, obviously, the other thing is, people find fun in, being tourists now, or joining an org now, and have thousands of hours of fun in Star Citizen now. So it is a mixed bag, and takes all sorts, as it were. But if you have to say, when is it going to be fun for me, you're probably looking for a polished, finished game. Star Citizen is not that, and won't be for many years. What else have we got? You think that's what we talked about. Should missiles fire a set for max or limit to how many mounts they've got? I like the idea of each mount being able to fire one missile simultaneously. So if you've got like 4 mounts, you can fire 4 missiles technically. I mean, maybe it makes sense to have burst mounts. You can fire multiple ones. I'm happy for them to balance it however they want. I don't think you get much benefit being able to burst fire 4 missiles at the single target simultaneously. I mean, that's not the way I use missiles, to go sort of missile obliterate to target. Once it passes $1 billion, it'll be a quadruple A game. People were talking about it being a quadruple A game. No one knows what that means. And I do actually think the Star Citizen will go over $1 billion in funding. I mean, has CIG apologized for the 100i paint used as trash flare? I feel robbed. So, I'm not massively happy with the 100i skins as flare. And I think the reason... I don't really care that much. Obviously, lots of people subscribe to RSI, partly because they want the sub-flare. But it's obviously a lot of other reasons and that, probably. I mean, you subscribe for whatever you want to subscribe for, eh? But the reason that those are annoying is because you need to have a 100i to be able to use those. And the previous flare has been, well, there's no restrictions in its use. It'll be like new armor, or it'll be like a helmet, or it'll be a pistol, or it'll be the WoW Nerf blasters. Now, they might not have any tangible use in game, but you can use them, and you don't have restrictions to use them. So I don't want to have to. Cool, I got 100 eye skin. What am I going to do with that? Do you know what I mean? They sold us a pipe dream. Lance Den, have you actually backed the game? And do you actually ask for your money back then? If you want your money back, go for ask your money back. You think that's fair? Ask your money back if you want it. I'm all about freedom, bro. So you want, you do it. I'm pretty happy with my $3,000 and. Well, actually, I've dedicated about 7 years of work to covering Star Citizen. But I suppose that doesn't really matter how it goes. I'll still cover Star Citizen, whatever. I love the community and the project, and I think it's interesting. Warts and all, for sure. I mean, I do genuinely like the game, and I do genuinely think it's going to be a success as well. But that's sort of where my biases lie. How deep do you like to see sabotage gameplay being? I like the idea that you can, obviously, disconnecting components and salvage charges and things like that, and that might be cool. And you need to make it sure that it can't be too trolly or like what happens. So you need to make sure that sabotage gameplay is clever, but not sort of like broken. Definitely for missions, sabotage-esque missions. I mean, because they want a physical component system, you will be able to probably sabotage everything, even if it's just disconnecting a module. Do you think the raft stands for refinery and ferrous transport, and will be the refinery ship? Maybe. People are thinking the raft might be. The Hammerhead was built, it seems to me, with a lot of continuous firing with the restrictions. Is that ship still going to be effective in its role? I would expect so. I mean, is it supposed to be continuous firing, or is it just supposed to be a lot of firing? Because you're not going to be able to hold the button down forever anymore, but you are going to be able to get a lot of shots when you need them. How willing are you going to wait for Star Citizen to be completed, or are you far too involved at this point to have back out? I'll cover it for as long as it takes for me to get bored and to not want to cover it anymore. So I don't know when that would be. But a vague concept, which I can't answer, because it doesn't have a cut-off point that I've got a stat for. I haven't got, what's my tolerance level? It's a 14, so I can take another 7 years. Obviously, it doesn't even need to be completed. It just needs to show progress to a degree that I like. But, I mean, who knows? I have major burnout from the massive setup that Eve Corps and Fight require. Am I effed if I plan to make Star Citizen my main future game? It depends on what you want from Star Citizen, for sure. I think there's plans. I think you'll be able to play it relatively solo, but you'll probably want to work with other people sometimes, even if it's just sending information to other people, sharing info. I think it's best played in an org. Would the 100i flare be better if it came with a model version for your hangar? Actually, probably. They wouldn't have had so much annoyance if it was a model series of ships. If it was little 100i models, and they went, also you get the skin, people would probably be a lot more chill about it. But actually, yeah, cool. I love model. Board, how do you feel about Sir Branson's Virgin Galactic Grift claimed to get to space, but he's only reached 85 kilometers, which isn't even high enough for 0G. They just fell for a bit. But it is technically in space. I looked at the numbers. It said it was technically in space. Any news on the glaive rework or opinions how it will fit into the new combat meta? Don't know yet. I'm looking forward to seeing the glaive and the scythe get those updates though. I'm confused on the thruster and afterburner changes. So basically, thrusters, yeah. So you've basically gone back to having boost again now. Okay. So when you use boost, it will give you acceleration in the direction you're going, or make your thrusters. So some ships have better lateral acceleration from boost, some have better forward acceleration from boost, depending on the ship and where thrusters are placed and all that sort of jazz. So interceptors, for example, have better forward boost. And then the power that you put into it from your capacitors will make it use less boost and recharge quicker. It's actually pretty simple, but they keep on flip-flopping between afterburner and boost and all that sort of jazz. Do you think the difference between the Apollo Triage and the Medevac is enough to signify that they're the same ship with different skins, aren't they? It's only space when you can sustain orbit. No, so from what I read in the article that I read, it was technically that's in space, but it's not orbital. So I might be wrong in that, but that's what the articles that I read, 2 separate articles saying that technically it was in space. So, how do you see the Ares being with the new changes? Well, we don't have the Ares in game yet, so the new changes are how it's just going to be. It's going to be interesting to see how the Inferno, the ballistic version, has it got enough ammo, and how do they balance that? Because it needs a good amount of ammo to be able to, be fun and good and do its role. The Ion obviously dropped one of its shields. I need to see if it's still tanky. There's no such thing as 0G. Earth still pulls you towards it, nearly at the sun acceleration in low Earth orbit. Just dodge continually. Eh. The Medevac is classed as slower with heavy armor. Okay, that makes sense, because it's supposed to be the sort of... Yeah, okay. I actually just thought it was a different skin. But it makes sense that it's got heavier armor. Did you know that you have a T1000 like shine in your head? Nope. I've just got a shiny head, okay? Yeah, it's 250,000 to go a bit up in the air. It's quite expensive. How do they know that server meshing will work? They don't, but they suspect it to, and they built it. I mean, they'd use the next best thing, as I said earlier. Everything with Star System feels like forever. Well, I don't think the lockdowns helped, admittedly. It does make stuff feel longer. We love you, Bored. I appreciate the love. Thank you. Hello, hope you're well. Do you reckon they will break down ballistic weapons further with specific ammo types in the future? Yes, I do. And probably customization to each individual weapon as well, is what I'm thinking. The 600i Gold Standard project is on the progress tracker for the fall. Do you think this will be completed earlier on time? I know they're trying to push getting the Gold Standard, the 600i out, and the tweaks to that, so... From the roadmap, do you think we will see the complete trifecta at CitizenCon bring mission, quanta, and persistence? I think they might show something off for that yet in either presentations or gameplay demo, but I mean, some of it will have to be faked because obviously it won't be ready, or there will be like in a very much a LAN environment. The US journalists were lazy over the definition. Okay. Regarding scanning, can you talk about how they may do signature feedback or what types of feedback they want to get to ID stuff? So, I mean, I'm not entirely sure how it's going to evolve into the future, But at the moment, you do the scan ping, beep, and you'll see scan blobs, which are cuboid now, and you'll be able to scan that blob further, or at least say all the information about the signatures it's detected in there in a bit more detail, so you can sort of work out what's going on there without having to get closer to it, sort of. Obviously, there's going to be environmental signature stuff going on there as well. There could be multiple things you detected in an area. Right. I'm going to dash off in a second because I want to have check on my dad, have lunch, and have a shower because I'm a sweaty boy, a sweaty BoredGamer boy. Random thought, do you think there should be more environmental suits in the future, like the Novikov and Pembroke? Oh yes, I think we'll see different types of suit for different environments. Like, yeah, as you said, radiation, corrosive, high gravity, that sort of stuff. Yes, almost definitely. Do you think there will be adding camera tools and options for content creators? Maybe. I mean, there might be some camera tool stuff. I mean, they need to be careful that they don't have third person being... Third person isn't realistic and allows you to see around corners. Maybe a little drone. If you've got a little drone, you can have third person. Drone flying behind you. I'm going to carry your helmet for you. That's going to be my stance as a career. J-Bird, I'll take you up on that. No, thank you very much. I appreciate J-Bird. You're a fantastic person to just have around as a mod. You're awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks very much for joining me today. It is very much appreciated. I am going to find someone else for you to watch. Probably someone... I'm going to chuck you at Moist Noodle because I'm going to be interviewing him soon. So I think it's a good idea to chuck you at him. Thank you very much for joining me today. I love you loads. I'll give all the kind messages, or some of the kind messages, to my father. And I'll be getting another video out a little bit later today. We'll be getting some videos over the weekend as well. But take care, guys. Thanks for the love. Peace out. And love.